Thank you so much for joining me for this full-length Pilates mat class where we will be strengthening the muscles around the SI joint. Please note that I am not a licensed physical therapist, nor am I a doctor. These are just exercises that I have researched and learned will strengthen the area around the SI joint. If you are having SI joint pain, please do not do this class. If you feel pain at any time with your SI joint while doing the class, please stop. So we're going to go ahead and begin lying on our backs. So extend your feet in front of you, flat on the mat. Pull in gently behind your knees. Tuck your tail. Roll back to the mat. Also, guys, I'm so sorry. I should have mentioned it before we rolled down. For class today, I have a stretchy band. I have it for just the ballet stretches at the end of class, so it's completely optional. You can use a belt. I also have one sliding disc. You can use a towel on a tile surface, or you can use a more heavy-duty paper or plastic plate. And I also have 2-pound weight balls. Please do not use above 3-pound weights for this class. So I'm on my back. I'm going to find a nice neutral spine. I'm going to place my hands down by my side. I'm going to flip them up to the ceiling. I'm going to shake it out. And now I'm going to go into locating my neutral spine. First thing I'm going to do is locate a neutral sacrum. I have my back hip bones and my tailbones flat on the mat. I have a slight lift or arch in my back from the tip top of my hip bones to my 12th rib. It is a natural lift. I have all 12 of my ribs sinking into the mat. My shoulder blades are flat and wide. My collarbone is nice and open. My sacrum is soft. My ribs are wrapping together on the front. This is very active, and I am very actively drawing my belly button down to my spine. I'm going to think now of already starting to tweeze the sits bones together, like a little tweezer, so that I can really sort of like locate sort of a connection down by my seat. I'm also thinking of drawing my inner thighs together gently. I'm not squeezing them in all the way. I'm just gently thinking of drawing them together right here. My hands are still flipped up to the ceiling. Now, we're going to do some tuck tilts. So I'm going to inhale, exhale, and put my spine all the way onto the mat. I'm not lifting my tail up off by pressing my feet into the mat. This is all abdominal work here. So think of your spine as a strand of pearls. Lay each strand of pearl, or each pearl or vertebra down on the mat, lift back up into neutral, and tilt a little bit, lifting your back in a slight arch if it feels nice. If it's too much, please don't do it. And exhale to imprint, and inhale to tilt. My palms are still flipped up. Think of this more as a abdominal warm-up, guys. Don't think of this as how far can I arch or tilt, or tuck or tilt. Think of it more as just a hello, abdominal warm-up. Here's 7. Let's do one more. Good. Now look at that neutral spine. Walk your feet in together so your legs are hugging in together. We're still nice and loose, but engaged up top. We're going to do some marching. So we're going to inhale. Exhale, bring our left leg up to tabletop. And inhale to lower. And exhale our right leg up. And inhale to lower. Keep going with the breath. We shouldn't feel any shifting on the back of our hips. So really draw everything in towards the midline. Tweeze those sits bones. Drop that belly button to the spine. Let's do 2 more on each side. Really draw in with that inner thigh. Wrap the glutes. 1 more to each side. We're going to go into some single leg footwork. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to rotate our feet out to a frog on the mat, let's say. So we are rotated out to Pilates feet position. Our heels are together, our toes are apart, our knees are tracking over our big toes. First thing we're going to do is inhale, exhale, march our left leg up to tabletop. And we're going to flex our foot, we're going to press through our heel to extend and pull it back. Our head, neck, and shoulders will stay down for this. You really want to figure out if you have any shifting on your back hip, because we don't want that rotation for the SI joint. So lift your foot up a little bit if you're having a little bit too much shifting, and and continue to work by rotating the femur in the hip socket. Here's 9. We're going to do the other side, and then we're going to do the rest of our footwork in parallel and add on. Now, march that foot back down. Inhale, exhale the right foot up, and extend and pull. And press through the heel, and pull. And press. Don't allow this leg to just open to the side. You really want to rotate the femur in the hip socket here too, to really work that inner thigh and everything else, and to decrease the rotation on the back of the pelvis. Keep breathing. And here's 9. And here's 10. Now march that foot down. Now close everything together like a book. It's all in parallel. All the inner aspects of your feet and inner legs are squeezing together. Inhale, exhale, march that left leg up to tabletop. Parallel and press through the heel. My thigh to thigh, guys. I'm not dropping below because I don't want to feel any shifting in my hips. And I'm going to pull back to tabletop. And press and pull. And extend. Again, if you're feeling a lifting of your hip when you extend your leg, bring your foot up higher towards the ceiling. Here's 9. On 10, we're going to stay out there. We're going to press through the ball of our foot, then we're going to point our toes. We're going to pull our toes back and pull our foot back to flexed. Keep doing that for a full articulation of your foot. Really working through the ball of your foot. But what's really working on me are my abdominals. Good. Let's do 2 more. Flex your foot, pull it in. Now extend it up to the ceiling, straight up. We don't want to tuck our tail here and get a shifting in our pelvis. So imagine that your leg is a post, sticking straight up to the ceiling. Now flex your leg to lower it, thigh to thigh, and point to lift or knee to knee. And flex to lower, and point to lift. We have 6 here. Use your abdominals to lift, and lower, and lift. Really reaching energy up through our legs. And now we're going to come across the body an inch and away from the body an inch. Don't allow any shifting to happen on the back of your hip bone, and don't allow your knee to sway from side to side. You're standing, like knee to sway from side to side to accommodate the weight of your leg. 1 more because I lost count. Come back up through the center. So we're going to do leg circles, 6 leg circles. Don't drop your thigh below your other thigh. So we're going to inhale and exhale back up. And inhale. Here's 3. And 4. And 5. And 6. And then we're going to reverse, okay? So inhale away from the body and exhale across. And inhale away and exhale across. Here's 3. And 4. And 5, and 6, and now hug your knee into your chest. Give it a nice little release in that hip, and lower it down to the mat. Draw your foot up, or inhale, exhale, draw your right foot up, flex it, and extend, thigh to thigh, knee to knee, and pull back to tabletop, and press. Really find that wrap in your ribs, dropping the lower belly to the abdominals, or the lower belly, the belly button to the spine. My word. Platform your shoulder blades. Good. Here's 8. And 9. And now 10. Stay out there. Thigh to thigh, knee to knee. Press through the ball of foot. Point the toes. Pull your toes back. Pull your foot back to flex. Press through the ball of foot and point and toes and flex. Articulation. Good. Here's 5, 6, 7. Really locate the neutral spine. And 9. And 10. Draw the foot back to tabletop. Extend it up to the ceiling. Straight up like a post, right? We're going to flex to lower and point to float it back up. And lower and point to float. And 3. Good. And 4. 5, 6, and now across the body an inch and away from the body an inch. Make sure that you're keeping the same weight on that platform leg. And if you can, Take a look at your knee and make sure it's not shifting from side to side as you move your leg. Now come back to center. Inhale across the body. Don't go down any further than thigh to thigh, knee to knee. And exhale it back up. And inhale and exhale. 3, 4, 5, and here is 6. And now reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Draw your knee into your chest. Give it a little hug to release it out. Place your foot on the mat. Walk your heels into your glutes. Your heels should be no wider than sits bones distance apart. We're going to do some hinge bridging. Platform your arms down by your side. Hinge bridging is different than articulation because you're going to lift everything up at once rather than lifting up one vertebra at a time. So we're going to inhale, exhale, squeeze our glutes, and press them up. Look from side to side. Make sure that you're not too much on your neck. Give your inner thighs a little bit more work by pulling them a little bit closer together and lower everything down at once. And exhale to lift. And lower. And lift. And squeeze the glutes at the top. And lower. 2 more. We're going to stay up with the last one. We're going to start adding on. Now stay up at the top. Now we're going to lift our left heel and lower. And right heel and lower. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Now both. 1, 2. Squeeze your inner thighs. Stay up at the top. Dip just your left heel and lift, and just your right heel and lift. So stay up and lower your heel and lift, one at a time. Here's 3, 4, 5, 6, stay up. Now just your left knee is going to go out an inch and squeeze in with your inner thigh. And inner thigh. 3, 4, 5, squeeze your glutes up higher, just your right leg out an inch and in an inch. And 2, 3, 4, 5. Now both knees out an inch and squeeze. 2, 3, 4, 5. Drop your heels, hinge bridge down. Give your knees a hug real fast. Widen your biceps to the side, squeeze underneath your arms, to pull your tailbone up slightly off the mat to release back on your low back. Okay guys, let's do some single leg work on bridging. So, we're going to inhale, exhale, hinge bridge up. Lift your left leg to tabletop, lift it up to the ceiling. We're going to do the same series that we did on the other side. So we're going to lower an inch and lift an inch. So just an inch. Just 3. And now across the body and away from the body. Squeeze the glutes. And now 3 tiny circles in each direction. And reverse. Knee to tabletop, lower it. Squeeze both glutes up even higher. Right leg to tabletop, right leg up. Now lower an inch and lift an inch. And lower. And 3. Now across and away. It'll probably definitely be smaller here, right? Now come back to the center. Now 3 small circles in each direction. Squeeze the glutes even harder. And now here's 3. And 2. And 1. Knee to tabletop. Lower it down. Drop your hips. Give your knees another hug. Widen your elbows to the side. Squeeze under the arms to try to release that low back. Articulate up to sitting up tall. I'm going to locate my 2-pound hand weights. We're going to be doing some supine arm work lying flat on the mat. The trick to arm work is which way your palms are facing so you don't round in on your shoulders and lift them off the mat while you're doing this work. So when your arms are straight up to the ceiling, like posts, like your leg was coming out of your hip, you can have your hands whichever way you want, right? But When your hands start to float to the ground above your head or towards your hips, your hands flip up to the ceiling. For example, while I'm here, my hands can be wherever they want, right? My shoulders look fine. But when I come here, I'm rounding. So I open them, my palms up to the ceiling. And when I come down here, same thing, I can round up here. But if I flip my palms up, it's easier for me to lower my hands down and keep nice wide shoulder blades. So I'm gonna squeeze my legs together, tweeze my seat. Our heels should be no wider than our sits bones. My hands are up to the ceiling. We're just gonna lower our hands down and lift them up. I have a nice bend in my elbows. Think hug a tree. I'm not squeezing for dear life onto my balls or my weights. I should be able to rest them and hook my fingers without squeezing them for dear life, right? But I have a nice neutral spine here. I'm working with my breath, whatever your breath pattern may be. Bring your hands down, hover them. Make your head a little lighter. And now we're going to reach our hand towards our feet and back. And reach our other hand toward our feet and lift. And slide our hand towards our feet on the left side and up. Think more squeezing under your arm. Your hips should not be shifting here. This is an iffy move with the SI joint. It's very small, very controlled. So if you're feeling this at all, please stop. But it's just an upper rib shift and back. Think more of banana or the side stretch on the Cadillac when you're lying on your back, when you're lying prone and back. Go ahead and lift your arms back up to the ceiling. We're gonna bring our arms out the width of the mat and we're gonna flip them up towards our face slightly. We're gonna bring our pinky blade edge down to our hips and float it back up, keeping the same hand position the whole time here. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna squeeze under the arms and we're gonna squeeze it back up. Guys, same thing here. Find that nice neutral spine. Wrap the ribs even tighter when your hands come down and wrap them even tighter when they come back up. Keeping that nice hug a tree position with your arms. We're gonna go to a T-neck, so if the weight's too much for you, please drop your weights. So bring your hands down, squeeze them down a little further. We're gonna have to bring it to the hug a tree position right here, right? So before we begin, let's go ahead and do a few hug a trees. So inhale, your balls should tap over where you're starting our 12th rib meet, and then open. And inhale to tap, exhale to open. Inhale to tap, exhale to open. Pause. Inhale. And exhale to tap, inhale to open. We just changed the breath pattern, that's all. If it didn't work, it's fine. So stay in the hug a tree position, open, and squeeze your pinky blade edge to your hips, and open back up, palms to the ceiling the whole time. And squeeze. And wrap the ribs as you squeeze your hands down, and wrap the ribs as you pull your arms apart. Good. And here's 5. And one more, here's 6. Now bring your balls to your hips, place them down by your hips. Bring one foot to tabletop, bring the other foot in. We are working in a hundreds position. So many foot positions to choose from. Parallel working level, hundreds working level, diamond position, hook position, that's parallel, tabletop, frog, feet up to the ceiling. Whatever works for you so that your hips are not shifting, please go there now. I'm going to my favorite, the hundreds, and we're just going to tap our ball as we inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Really think of maintaining that neutral spine, wrapping the ribs, and reaching long for the end of the mat. Really work on wrapping the ribs, dropping the belly to the spine, so we're not tenting our abs, right? 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Final set. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Draw your feet into tabletop. Now extend your right leg and pull. And your left leg and pull. The trick to this is keeping the leg that is not moving in tabletop. So don't automatically pull it in. Challenge your abs. Really squeeze and tweeze your sits bones. Wrap your ribs, press down into the balls. Widen those shoulder blades. Sink the ribs into the mat. Good. You don't have to curl up to challenge your abs. Now, double leg stretch, coordination style variation. Let's do it. Extend your legs, turn it out to Pilates feet. Open your feet the width of the mat. Squeeze it together with your inner thighs. Come back to parallel. Pull back to tabletop. Extended parallel. Pilates feet. Open. Close. Parallel. Tabletop. Extend. Open. Close. Parallel. Tabletop. Press down into the ball. If you start to feel your hips start to shift forward, start to go towards your tailbone, lift your feet up even higher. It's still effective, guys. Let's do one more. And pull. Now pull your knees tight, tight, tight into a ball. Press into the mat, widen your shoulder blades. We're gonna do reverse ab curl. Do not keep your feet over your head for this. We're going to take our tuck from the very beginning of class and we're going to add on. So inhale, exhale, imprint your spine, peel your tailbone off and lower. Come back to neutral. Your shoulders should not be involved except to press into the balls, which will help you. But think of pressing more into your pinky blade edge than into the thumb, so around your shoulders. So inhale, exhale, imprint, and lift. Neutral. Inhale, exhale, imprint, and lift. Come to neutral. Inhale, exhale, imprint, and lift. Come to neutral. Bring your hips towards the tips of your ribs. Let's do one more. Good. Feet up to the ceiling. Release your hands from the balls. We're going to keep our head, neck, and shoulders down for this. We are doing scissors. We're not getting wild with it, so we're not twisting in the back of our pelvis, but we're going to separate our legs and pull our right leg. And switch carefully with control, pull. This is more of a stretch than a wild swinging of your legs. Think of it as being very controlled. Please reach for your thigh underneath your knee. Do not reach for behind your knee because it will cause your leg to bend. Keep going. We're going to do two more. One more. Good. Feet up. Rest your hands on your balls again. Spiraling out your pinky blade edge. We're going to lower our legs for double leg lower lift for 1, 2, 3, and exhale to lift. And lower 1, 2, 3. Before you lift your legs, try to exhale and feel your abs sinking. And then use your abs to lift. 3 more. Next, we're doing corkscrew 1, where neither hip leaves the mat. Good, guys. And lower, lower, lower. Now, our legs will rub against each other and they'll slide against each other, but imagine that you have rebar poking up through the ceiling down to both your hips. Your hips are unable to move. So we're going to slide our legs to the left, down to the end of the mat, to the right, and up. Don't get wild with this. It'll be even smaller than your single leg circle because you have 2 legs, so the weight's heavier. So we're going to go left, and now we're going to reverse, and we're going to go right. And one more to each side. And we're going to give our knees a hug after this. Our legs have been in the air for a while, right? Give your knees a nice hug. Ooh, I think I lost a ball. We're going to go ahead and widen our elbows to the side, squeeze underneath our arms, and try to lift our tailbone up off the mat, finding a nice stretch in our low backs. Good. Now, I'm going to move my balls to the side. I'm going to come on to my right side first. We are going to be doing clam sideline legs. I'm going to be doing it on my forearm. If you find that you cannot maintain this position, please go ahead and make your arm into a pillow and lie down to do it. Otherwise, we're going to squeeze underneath our arms, lift up through our ribs. I'm going to find a nut, and I'm going to bring my body to the back edge of my mat. I'm going to line it up. I'm going to draw my abs up and in, wrap my ribs, nice long neck. I have a 90-degree position from my body to my shin, my thighs, from my thighs to my shins, and I have my feet flexed. Now, without sinking in your ribs, lift your feet and lower them. Now, we're lifting them by we're using our bottom leg, so we're using our bottom leg to lift and lower. I have my right hand tented in a little spider legs in front of my body. One more. Stay up. And now open and squeeze it shut. I feel the same weight in the back of my hip as I do in the front of my knee on my thigh. I'm not shifting into my low back. It is dangerous, or it can be painful for the lower back, pelvis, SI joint area. So we want to make sure that we're rocked forward the whole time, not sinking into our low back. Now, leave your leg open. Now, don't sink back to do this, but think of rotate. Rotate to pulse up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Close your knees, lower your feet. Come onto your back. Place your left foot on the mat. Bring your right foot up across. We're going to do a figure 4 stretch. Make sure that you're coming up above your ankle so you're not sickling your foot. And now walk or scoot your glutes down to your heel and increase the stretch that way. But don't twist in your hips to find the stretch. So if you're dropping this hip and lifting this one up, don't do that. That rotation is not good for the SI joint. Let's take a couple more breaths here. Final breath. Great. Now you can just roll over to your other side to do the clam over there. I'm just going to switch right here. So I'm going to come onto my forearm, but guys, don't forget, if you can't maintain that position, feel free to go ahead and make your arm into a pillow. Bring your forearm back, rest your head on it. Lift up out of your side closest to the mat. Don't sink into it and be lazy, right? You want to lift up, really lengthen out both sides. Otherwise, I'm on my forearm. I've lined my back up with the back edge of my mat. I've lifted up out of my ribs. I'm really wrapping, I'm drawing my abdominals up in a nice long neck. I have a 90-degree position from my body to my thigh, from my thighs to my shins, and my feet are flexed. Now, without sinking down on your ribs to make this happen, lift your top leg with your bottom leg and lower. And use your bottom leg, lift your top leg. Good. I'm making spider with my top hand and I'm placing it in front of me. I'm not lifting up off of my front knee to make this happen, so I don't want to shift into my low back. Here's 9, and here's 10. Stay up. Now open and squeeze it shut. Don't rock back to make this opening of the clam happen. Really rotate the femur and the hip socket to open and close. Good. Here's 9. Now 10. Stay up at the top. Now we're just going to rotate, rotate, rotate. Tiny pulse of the rotate, or the rotation of the femur and the hip socket. Now close the clam, lower the feet, come onto the back, take above the ankle on the, that's the left foot. Place it below the knee on the thigh. And if you want more, walk your heel into your glutes. Don't shift your hips to find this figure 4 stretch. There we go. I'm wearing slippy pants today, huh? Go ahead and flex your foot if you're looking for a little bit more though. We're going to be moving into swan, swimming, a little shell bird dog stretch, or a little shell child's pose stretch, and then we're going to be doing some bird dog before we move into some arm work. So go ahead and release your legs, give them a little shake out. We're going to come on to our stomachs for some swan. I'm going to invite you to come up half as far as you normally would in swan, to stay out of your low back today. So we're really gonna squeeze the legs, really gonna draw the belly button up and in. And instead of focusing on how high we can go, we wanna focus on really creating a uniform curve from the tip top of our head out, shooting out through our tailbone so that we don't sink into that low back and put too much pressure down there. So I'm going to take my glasses off first because they're right in the way. I'm going to place my forehead on the mat. I'm going to squeeze my biceps into my ribs, bring my hands underneath my shoulders. I'm going to draw my abdominals up and in, wrap my ribs. I want to imagine a tiny little trail dance is trying to get underneath my belly button muscle area. I'm going to squeeze in on my inner thighs, draw my belly up even tighter. We're going to inhale and begin to lift the tip top of our head, squeeze underneath our arms. And then we're going to lower down. And instead of lifting up as high as you can, try to really just articulate out, create that curve. As soon as you feel pressure in your low back, please stop. And inhale. Can you release your hands? That's how high up you should go. So as high up as you can go. Try no hands. Good. Let's do one more no hands. Now, make your hands a pillow. Rest your forehead on them. Let's do some glute work because we can sink into our low back, increase at the low back, increase pressure back there if we're not correctly activating our glutes for swimming. So, extend your feet out long, draw your belly button up and in, wrap your ribs, squeeze your inner thighs. Now, without rocking from hip to hip, float your left leg up. Without sinking or creasing your low back and lower. And right leg. And lower. Left leg. And lower. And right leg. And lower. One more to each side. And now let's do both. One. Without creasing in the low back. So you shouldn't feel your belly button sink into the mat any further. Now stay up there for funsies. Reach your hands out in front of you. Lift your left arm and your right arm. And your left arm. If you start to feel your lower back, start to lower your legs a little bit. Left arm, right arm. And now both arms. And both arms. And both arms. Bring your head up so that your biceps between your ears and begin swimming. Inhale and exhale. Don't lose that lift in your belly or the wrap in your ribs or the squeeze in your glutes, and reach energy out of the fingertips and out of the toes at the same time. Let's do one more breath. Now stop, reach out long and lower. Bring your hands underneath your shoulder blades. We're going to do shell pose. When we do that, we're going to do shell stretch. When we do this, don't move your hands around because we want to really increase the stretch in the low back. So begin to press back, tuck your tail, and round up. Your hands will be in front of you. Continue to round. Stretch out long. You should really feel it under your arms. Continue to round. Think more lower body though. Hold it and take a couple breaths. This is a very active stretch. Really find the space in your low back and release back to a child's pose. Now, walk your hands back as you articulate up, vertebra by vertebra, and come up to sitting up tall. We're going to go into bird dog, we're going to do a cat-cow stretch, and then we're going to go into some arm work, guys, okay? So the first thing we're going to do for bird dog is we're going to find a quadruped position. If you need support under your knees, please find a pad, rolled up mat, rolled up towel for under your knees. If you need wrist support, you can use your weights to hold on to here, or you can come into a fist position. But in bird dog, you shouldn't be creasing the wrist. You should be trying to put a little bit more weight in the palms of your fingers so you're able to evenly distribute your weight rather than just creasing at your wrist the whole time. So while we're here, make sure that you're not in a cow position. So draw your abs up and in. If you have an interior tilt or if your pelvis tilts back, think of tucking your tailbone very, very gently so you're able to find that neutral spine position on your hands and knees that you were able to find on your back with the weight of the gravity. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to extend our left leg and pull it back. Don't lift up your left leg and go like this. We're keeping a nice squared body. So slide your foot along and pull it back. You don't have to press your footing completely to make this happen, okay? Now extend that leg, and if you're able to, extend your right hand. You want a straight line from the tip top of your head to your tailbone. Now lift your arm and leg, and lower and tap the mat and lift. And lift. We have 10. Find that same squeeze that you were able to find during the swimming warm-up to lower and lift your leg. One more. Stay up. Now arm and leg will go away from the midline an inch and squeeze toward the midline. We have 10 here too. So squeeze with that inner thigh. So press away with the outer thigh just an inch and squeeze with the inner thigh. 7. Draw up and down on your abs. Tuck the tail slightly. One more. Now 10 small circles in each direction, about the size of an orange. Squeeze underneath the arm for the standing arm, or the stabilizing arm, and reverse. Good. Wrap the wrist. Now, tap the hand and foot and pull them back in. Other side, guys, give it a little shake. Woo! Let's get ready, right? Find that nice quadruped position. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, and press the right leg and pull. And press. Keep those hips square, don't go like this, right? Press it back. Imagine that your foot's on a track. Now, extend your right leg, and if you can, extend your left hand. Now, lift both and tap. Keep that tiny little tuck on your pelvis. Keep a straight line from the tip top of your head out through your tail. Good, and now stay up. Now away from the midline and back to the midline. 2, 3. Don't shift your body, right? Wrap your ribs, draw your belly up and in, and tuck your tail slightly. One more. Now 10 small circles in each direction, the size of an orange. Tuck your tail. That's more for me than I don't know what you're doing. And now reverse. Now, lower your hand and foot, tap them to the mat, and then pull them back in. We're going to do some cat-cow. So, tuck your tail, really find the space between the low back, and look down in at your thighs. Now, come back to neutral, and instead of sinking your low back, think of looking up, 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 finding more of a lift in your upper body. Tuck your tail, drop your head, come back to neutral, and find that lift in the chest. Come back and lift. And that lift in the chest. One more time for funsies. Press back into a child's pose. Breathe into your low back. We're going to go ahead and go into some arm work. Articulate all the way up. So we want to go ahead and locate our weights again. I'm going to do the beginning and ending work for my arm work in a butterfly position, so I can rotate the femur and the hip socket further. So I'm going to turn this way so that I can stay on my mat, because it's an elevated mat. I'm going to sit up tall. I'm going to wrap my ribs. I have my shoulders over my hips. I'm going to do some bicep curls, some rowing, some T openings, and we're going to go into some kneeling work. So again, for the kneeling work, you don't have to do it. You can do it on a chair. You can do it sitting crisscross applesauce, or you can find a pad, towel, rolled up mat for under your knees. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my arms in front of me, but I'm not going to bring them in like this, so I'm going to be down on my shoulders. I'm going to bring them out slightly, very narrow, low V, and I'm going to bicep curl just by bending at the elbows. Good. Make sure you're not leaning back to do it, right? You want to stay stacked over your hips, tweezing the bottom tips of your shoulder blades. Good. Here's 9. We're going to do 10. Now take your palms and flip them, and now pull them back so that your hands come to where your sternum 12th rib bra strap are, and extend from there so they won't be up as high. And then pull back, squeezing the bottom tips of the shoulder blades, and extend. Don't arch your back to do this. Just think of squeezing slightly, like you're tweezing your sits bones. Tweezing your sits bones. You're going to tweeze the bottom tips of your shoulder blades. Good. Here's 9. One more. Now extend and flip your palms towards you and extend your arms open to a T. Tweeze the bottom tips of the shoulder blades and come back. Don't tap your balls in the center. Don't bring them in front of your shoulders. You want them to come to that low V again so that you have a nice wide collarbone, nice soft sternum, and you're not rounding in on your shoulder blades. Sit up tall, tall, tall. And now open and stay open and pulse back. Tweeze, tweeze, pulse. Bring your arms forward, drop your balls, go ahead and roll out your arms, bring one arm across your body, bring the other arm across your body, go ahead and lift your hand up, stretch out that tricep real fast, and then we'll go to the other side. We're probably gonna do this again. Now we're gonna do the kneeling work. So, if you can't do that again, chair crisscross applesauce. You can sit, if you can do it kneeling but you can't bend your knees fully, you can always put a pillow between your heels and your glutes. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to come sitting on the side. We're just going to hold our balls gently by our sides, or always gently by our sides. We're not going to hinge forward to do this. We're just going to squeeze our glutes and float up, bringing our shoulders over our hips and our hips over our knees. Squeeze your glutes to open up the front of your hip flexors and sit back and lift. Drawing your abdominals up and in, think of tucking your tail ever so slightly. That's what squeezing the glutes is, so you'll find a nice neutral spine. Think of this as a bridge that's kneeling. So keep going. We're going to go 3. I'm at a slight side angle here. And 4. And 5. One more. Now we're going to do chest expansion. So we're going to press back by tweezing the bottom tips of our shoulder blades, reaching our balls back towards our heels. I'm going to look to the right, center, left, center, and release. We're not going to release our body back, but we're going to press back, challenging our body. Look to the left, center, right, center, release. And press back. Look right, center, left, center, release, and press back. Look left, center, right, center, release. One more set to each side, and press, squeeze those glutes. Really stack your shoulders over your hips over your knees. Right, center, wrap your ribs, abs up and in. And one more. Center, right, center, release. I'm going to come at a side angle again. I'm going to hinge, coming into sort of like a Z-sit almost. I'm going to draw my abs up and in, and I'm going to tuck my tail slightly so that I'm really maintaining the neutral spine, but squeezing my glutes, squeezing my inner thighs. My hands will flip down by my side, but I'm not going to round my shoulders in. I'm going to keep a nice wide collarbone. I'm going to press back and lower. Keep both shins on the floor. Don't go like this. Try to flatten your feet. Try to really draw the abs up and in. Wrap the ribs. Now in this next one, we're going to stay up there. Now bend just at the elbows and straighten. Abs up and in. Nice long line from the tip top of your head up through your tailbone. Your tailbone is shooting down towards your heels. Now stay back and pulse up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Flip your palms in and pulse in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Come back down. Woo. Come back up. Squeeze your glutes. Stack your shoulders over your hips over your knees. Flip your palms forward. Bend your elbows slightly and reach forward. Come up as high as your sternum 12th rib or where your bra strap is. Bend them in, pull them out, make sure you're there. That's the only time we'll do that. And reach. Again, we're in that low V position. Imagine that you're on a reformer and your uprights that are holding your ropes in place are behind you. That's as wide as our shoulders. Good. One more. Stay up at the top. Come into hug a tree. Now open and close. We're staying up at the top, guys. Leave your elbows up. Don't drop them down like this. But squeeze under your arms to stay up, right? Stack your shoulders over your hips over your knees. So I was just checking myself out in the mirror. Everybody needs to check, right? Now, we're gonna hinge again before we do our final arm circles, where we are gonna be up tall. So I'm gonna come back into the Z. So I'm gonna crease to the hips, drive my hips behind me, draw my abs up and in. I'm gonna bring my balls, so my middle fingers are touching. They're gonna be at my third eye or the middle of my forehead. Without moving, I'm going to extend out into a Supergirl and bend it back in and extend. Again, my shins are flat. My feet are flat on the mat. I have a straight line out through the tip top of my head, up through my tailbone. I'm tucking my tail slightly, which I was actually just swinging out my low back. So make sure you're not doing that, right? And 10. Good, now sit up tall or stand up. Right on your knees, squeeze your glutes, stack your shoulders over your hips over your knees. Bring your hands up to your shoulders, open to a T and lower. T and open. Here's 4. Wait, it's on my nose, of course, right? Right when it gets hard, right? And now we're going to reverse. Out to the T, squeeze it to the uprights, and lower. I'm so sorry. And T, and squeeze. We have 3 more. Here's 4. And here's 5. Okay, now we're going to sit down real fast. We're going to bring our legs together, squeeze our knees together. Just set the balls beside you. Sit up tall. Open your right leg and squeeze it shut. And your left leg. This is a 1-leg butterfly. So we're just going to open and squeeze it shut. Think of it as a sitting clam. We're not shifting off of either back hip bone, but we're just giving some nice movement. Try to squeeze it back into the center for a little bit more inner thigh work. So we're going to open, close. Good. Let's do 2 more to each side because it feels nice. We have a little bit more work in that diamond position like we talked about earlier. And then we're going to do some standing legs with the slider disc. And then we're going to be done, guys. Okay, after we do some ballet stretches. So just some nice stretches. So I'm going to find that diamond position. You really only need one weight for this. I'm going to place my left hand on my hip. I'm going to keep my right hand. I'm going to hold it gently. I'm going to squeeze my bicep into my rib. And I'm going to bring my hand up and pull it down. I'm not shifting to do this. I'm keeping my body position. I'm keeping nice wide shoulders. I'm lifting up out of my low back, drawing my abs up and in, wrapping my ribs, and challenging my body with the weight of the ball. Okay, we're going to do a modified unsheath the sword from reformer side arms. We are going to be challenging our body with the weight of the ball. So if it's too much for you, please don't do it. We are only going to be rotating from the shoulders. The rest of our body should not be rotating. So I'm going to look down at my hand. I'm going to bring my ball down to my left hand and my left hip. I'm going to pull the ball across, and then we're going to straighten and look up at it. Then I'm going to bend my arm, bringing my palm towards me, and slide it down across my body, back towards my hip. And pull it open, and bring it across. Just a little bit of upper body rotation work, challenging our obliques a little bit more than we have this class. Sit up tall, tweeze the bottom tips to your shoulder blades. Let's do one more. Okay, I'm gonna go to the other direction with my diamonds so that you can see this side. I'm gonna sit up tall, place my right hand on my right wrist, squeeze my left bicep in towards my body, bring my hand up towards my shoulder, and I'm gonna shave my face up and down. Again, don't shift your weight, don't side bend, just up and down. You're gonna have to squeeze under the arm the whole time to make this happen. I cannot always straighten my arm all the way. As a matter of fact, I can never straighten my arm all the way. Here's 9, and here's 10. Now, for the modified unsheath the sword, I'm gonna bring my hand down towards my right hand, right hip, look down. I'm gonna pull it across, and then I'm going to extend it. My palm's facing out. When I bend back in, my palm faces my shoulder, my palm slides across my body, back down to my right hip. Pulls across and extends. My hand follows, my eyes follow my weight in my hand. Keep equal weight on the back of both hips. Let's do 2 more. Sit up tall, wrap your ribs, draw your belly to your spine. And 1 more. Good. Let's go ahead and get rid of the weights, guys. We're gonna do some standing desk work. I'm gonna come onto both feet in parallel. I'm going to put my disc underneath my right foot. I'm gonna bend my knees, but I'm still sitting up tall, right? So I have some nice weight, but I put my weight in my left leg. Think of standing side controls, and I extend my leg and I pull it back with my inner thigh. And I press out with my outer thigh, pull back with inner. We have right here, we're gonna pulse up off the disc. We're gonna do tiny little circles the side of an orange to the side, and then we're gonna switch to the other side. Wrap your ribs, abs up and in. Hands on your hips if you like. Now press it out. Now make sure your weight's in your left leg, otherwise you won't be able to do this. And pulse up. 2, 3, 4, 5. Sink deeper. Good, stay up. Now 10 small circles in each direction. Stretch energy out of that leg. My foot is slightly flexed, but I still have energy coming out of my leg. Now place your foot down. Don't just pop up, pull it back in, stand up, and now switch. So, I'm gonna put the disc underneath my left foot. I'm gonna bend down, try to sit up as much as possible. Don't allow your back to scrap. Tuck your tail, don't tuck it like this, like I just did, but think of tucking it ever so slightly, wrapping your ribs, drawing your abs up and in. Shoulder blades up and down your back, place your weight in your right leg, and now press it and pull it back in. Press with the outside, squeeze in with the inner thigh. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good job, guys. The second side's always the hardest. Now stay out. Make sure your weight's in your right leg and pulse up. 2. You shouldn't stand in your leg when you lower it. I'm not even tapping it. That's an extra challenge, right? Shoot energy out of your leg, 10 small circles in each direction. Abs up and in, wrap your ribs. Ah! And now reverse. Place your foot down. Ooh, whoopsies. Pull it back in. Stand up. And now we're going to go ahead and do the ballet stretches. I'm going to find my stretchy band. I went with a round stretchy band. You can go for a ring too. Sometimes I prefer those for the ballet stretches. I'm going to roll down onto my back. I'm going to place the band around the ball of my foot. I'm going to extend my left leg for a nice hip flexor stretch. I'm going to lead my foot up to the ceiling like a post. And I'm going to flex my toes down below my foot. The reason that we want our legs straight up in the air is because when you pull it up, you're stretching more of your glutes and your back at that point because you're lifting up rather than stretching out the hamstring. So I can feel it all the way down from the heel, all the way down the back of my thigh. I'm going to take my left hand, flip the palm toward, or the top of my hand towards my nose, hold on to the band, bring my leg across my body, pull it up and in, bring my right arm out to a T and look over at it. I'm leaving that left hip strongly grounded to really increase that IT band stretch. I'm going to bring my leg back to the center, take my right hand, palm towards my nose, grab the band, bring it out to the outside and pull it up and in for an inner thigh stretch. If my hip rocks off, I've gone too far. I want to keep both hips strongly grounded again. Now bend your knee in. We're going to switch feet. Place the band around the ball of your left foot. Palms face you, both of them. Extend your right leg. Extend that foot up to the ceiling. Flex that foot. Really feel the stretch run down the whole back of the leg. Take your right hand, flip the palm away from you so the top of your hand is facing your nose. Grab the band, pull it across your body, leave that left hip grounded. Bring the left hand out to the side, glance over at it for a nice cervical stretch. Go ahead and stay here, really feel that stretch. Now bring the band back across, flip the palm of the left hand towards you, bring the band out, bicep curl it in towards your ear, let's say, or towards your shoulder. Don't let this hip float off. Really stretch that leg out nice and straight to feel the stretch. Bend it in, remove the band, hold on to your knees, tighten to a ball, and tuck in, bring your pelvis up towards your nose to get a nice little low back stretch real fast. Don't put too much pressure in your neck. Now, plant your feet, articulate up to sitting up tall. Inhale your arms up to the ceiling. Exhale your arms down to the side. Again, guys, I am not a licensed physical therapist or a doctor. These are just exercises that I use to strengthen the area around the SI joint. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for joining me.